Wargamers, Games Workshop released rules for the old Bonesinger model. Now that's an old metal model that you can order directly from Games Workshop right now. Very cool model. I definitely recommend picking it up if you have an Eldar army. But they released rules for it that aren't in the codex, aren't in the index, anything like that. So let's take a look at those and see how it compares to a Farseer and how it might fit into your army. Before I do that though, I want to say thanks for watching. If you like this video, go ahead, hit the like button, and subscribe for all my 8th edition content. Alright, so there is a link in the description below for the Bonesinger PDF rules. It's pretty standard profile for what you would expect from a Eldar Psyker. So it has a 7-inch movement, weapon skill 3, ballistic skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3, 1 attack, 7 leadership, a 4 wounds, and a 6-up save. So really a standard Psyker profile, and he's 70 points. So that puts him at about 2/3 of the cost of a Farseer, or a Farseer is an additional 50% of one of these guys. So keep that in mind. The Bonesinger has the ability to cast a single psychic power, and it knows Smite, and it has a couple special rules that are important to its functioning. It has the Ancient Doom and Battle Focus special rules like most other Eldar. It also has a Rune Armor that gives it a 4-up invulnerable save, so it's not just that 6-up save you're relying on. You're relying on that 4-up invulnerable save most often, which is good. Being only toughness 3, it's going to need that invulnerable save as much as possible. Another thing that's really important is that it has the ability to restore wounds to a Wraith construct or vehicle model instead of casting a psychic power. So let me read that rule directly for you because it's important how it's worded. It says, in your psychic phase, the model can re-knit Wraithbone instead of attempting to manifest any psychic powers. If it does so, select a single Craftworld vehicle or Wraith construct model within 3 inches. That model regains D3 lost wounds. A model can only be healed by this ability once per turn. So a couple things there. One is that it's a single model. It's not a unit, so you don't restore D3 wounds to the unit. That means you're not resurrecting models. So if you're using something like Wraithguard, you're not putting new models back into the unit. You can restore wounds to a single model within that unit. Otherwise, if you're targeting a vehicle, like a Fire Prism, or a Wraith construct like a Wraith Lord, you can actually add wounds back to that, which is good. The critical thing about this is that on average you're going to get 2 wounds per attempt, right? Because it's D3, that averages out to be about 2 wounds, and it's within 3 inches, which is going to be difficult to do. If you're trying to have this guy follow, like a Wraith Knight around, it's not going to happen. He's not going to be able to keep up with it. But there are some tricks that you can do to help alleviate that. Like you can put him in a transport, or a Wave Serpent or a Falcon, and have him follow around the Wraith Knight. That's an option. But still, it's only 2 wounds on average per turn, and the target can only benefit from it once. So you can't have like 6 Bonesingers and think that they're going to restore 12 wounds to a Wraith Knight each turn. That's not going to happen. But what you can do is basically use that for a metric as to how useful the Bonesinger actually is. So if we're getting about 2 wounds per turn, and let's say we can reliably get maybe 2 turns of this ability off, that means that he has to restore at least 70 points worth of wounds in those 2 turns across those 4 wounds in order to really make up his points. So really what we're looking for is to pair this guy with units that have a wound cost of about 20 points per wound. If you can get about 20 points per wound, then he's likely going to make his points back just in this ability, which is really what we're bringing him for. There's no real reason to bring him for his psychic abilities, since a Farseer, which again is only 50% more costly, can cast twice as many powers. So if you're going for a psychic ability, take Farseers, don't take a Bonesinger, because they're going to be a more efficient psychic power choice than the Bonesinger. But if you're going for this rejuvenation ability, you want to pair them with something that has at least 20 points per wound. So that's going to be things like Falcons, like your Imperial Armor tanks, like a Wraith Knight. It's going to be able to actually make its points back, healing those things if you have it actually work on that. But for things like Wraith Guard or Wraith Lord, they're only at about 10 points per wound. So you're unlikely to actually make your points back with that, and you'd be better off spending the points on just boosting those models, boosting the number of Wraith Guard that you have, or boosting the number of Wraith Lords you have, or something like that. So that's basically the recommendation. He fits in really nicely with pretty much any Eldar army. He has a ton of keywords. Eldari, Azurani, Warhost, Craft World, Character, Infantry, Psyker, Bonesinger. So he fits in very nicely, and like I said at the beginning of the video, it's a really nice model. I would certainly pick one up if I were a hardcore Eldar player. It'd be a great addition to my collection. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, how you might use the Bonesinger, or if you're just going to completely stay away from it. Love to hear it. As always, happy wargaming.